Sir Kaya Redford, welcome to Cordova Banker Hallmark.
Cordova Banker Hallmark in Glendale, California.
Yes.
Let's go.
We're really great to have you today. We had an awesome class just a moment ago, and now I have the pleasure of sitting down with you and chatting. First of all, I want to say that you have an essay worth of achievements, some of which I have to point out. So you're a master certified and trainer's trainer in NLP. Mm-hmm. You have coached many Fortune 500 companies such as Bank of America, Wells Fargo, a whole host of real estate companies, and individuals in government and the entertainment industries. You have a podcast. You've been knighted. You have been featured 4 times on the Oprah Winfrey Network. And you're also rehabilitating veterans suffering from PTSD and homelessness. And I heard that you're filming a new documentary on the issue. How did this all begin?
You know, I truly believe that everything that's happened in our lives has brought us to where we are today. Just being in your presence, Olivia, and your spark and what you're doing. First, I just want to say thank you. Very honored to be here. I admire what work you're doing with Cordova Banker here in Glendale and the difference you're making and really helping people achieve the American dream. My life started with my dad, who had a dream of being a successful provider of his 3 kids. He was a petroleum engineer. He moved to Algeria, which is in northern Africa. And, he was a workaholic, and that was his challenge, is that he felt like the only way he could create success is by working so hard, but not realizing that he was giving up time with his family. My mom went through a lot of challenges with that because she felt alone in a third world country, didn't have any support system, no structure. She didn't know anybody. So she did what most people do when you're stressed and you're frustrated and you can't deal with it, you start drinking. So she ended up drinking 1 or 2 glasses of wine. Next thing you know, she becomes an alcoholic. So in my early part of my childhood, I went through a lot of not so good things. My dad had, he knew that he was going to be gone. He knew that she couldn't drive. She couldn't take care of the household. He knew that she needed help. So he hired people to help us and to keep us safe. But what he didn't realize is the people he hired were psychopaths. At a very young age, went through a lot. And I always suffice to say, I get to my 20s and my 30s, and I'm just very lost. I mean, I don't know we come across people and you don't know what's wrong with them. They don't know who they are. They have no purpose, no direction, no motivation. They're hanging around with the wrong people. I did all of that. I was, as they say, a hot mess in my 20s and 30s. I used to drink vodka like it was water. I did drugs. It was just a mess. Why? Because I had no self-worth, no self-esteem, and I didn't know who I was. The moment that changed my life was meeting Bob Proctor in The Secret. And he became my first mentor. And Bob said to me, Kaya, and if you've seen The Secret, he says, you create your experience of reality. And I was thinking, he is so full of shit. How do you mean I created this? My parents created this. My life created this. My circumstances created this. He says, no, you'll never change your life if you keep thinking that you have to blame someone else for your circumstances. He says, how old are you? And at that time I was 33. He says, you're old enough now to make a change and make your life and become who you want to be. And it's when I started to have this new mindset. And one day he says, I want you to form a mastermind. I want you to study this NLP and this neuroscience and these other tools. And I want you to heal your life. And one day he says, I want you to form a mastermind. And I said, okay, what am I going to do in a mastermind? He said, I want you to start teaching people what I'm training you to do. I said, okay. And then I started doing that, and the people's lives were changing, and I was shocked to see the results that were happening. And it's almost like I went through the challenges I went through so that I could have to find a way to fix my own problems, which was make me an expert in helping other people solve their own blocks and their own problems. Right. And that's kind of how it happened. I ended up coaching this person who became number 1 in his office. That office brought me in to coach the office. The office became number 1 in the nation. Then I started getting invited to train other number one officers. The next thing you know, it was a shock to me. I had no self-worth, no self-esteem. I had no purpose, no direction. And now I'm being called to train the number one companies in the world. To me, it was just it was a complete shock. But I truly believe God has a plan. Universe has a plan. And so my goal is to help people find out their greatness and what their plan is. And a lot of who we have and who we help is people in real estate.
That's awesome. That was a big journey.
A big journey, yes.
A complete 180.
It's a big 180, yeah.
But you could really credit it to mindset. I think mindset is something that all of us kind of struggle with in getting the right mindset, and that applies to every factor in your life.
Yeah, I'm also, not only as you mentioned, a neuroscience, neuro-linguistic programming trainer. I'm also a miracle-minded coach, heavily trained in the Course in Miracles, and also trained and certified by presidential candidate Marianne Williamson in the Course in Miracles. And I'm being called to kind of share this. We have this power. So we are connected to this thing that we were given, this superpower. But we're not aware of it, right? So one thing is to be connected to it. The next thing is to be aware of it. And even though you're aware of it, so in other words, your house could be wired for electricity, but it doesn't matter if you don't have the lamp plugged in. And you could have the lamp plugged into the socket. It doesn't matter until you switch the light on. So I believe we're all wired for greatness, but we need to plug the lamp in, which is we need to be aware of that. And number two, we need to switch it on. We need to do something on a daily basis to activate all that. And that's why I truly believe the most important thing that everybody on earth gets to do is to grow. If I were to say the most important thing is the value is growth, because if you grow as a person, you become a better father, better mother, better son, better daughter, better leader, better sales agent, better whatever. It's growth. And so it is my oxygen. It is my destiny. I can't explain it to you. Oprah Winfrey says, find something you love so much you would do it for free, but then go and get paid to do that. I feel like it is my oxygen. Seeing people break through, seeing people achieve their goals makes me cry.
It's like a calling.
It is a calling. Yeah. There's nothing that could ever replace that feeling.
Yeah. What do you think is something that really stops someone from, like you said, switching that light on?
Well, for sure, they don't know how. Albert Einstein says we tend to look at the problem, whatever a problem is. Procrastination. I want to make this practical. Things that are holding people back, especially in real estate or in sales. Procrastination, fear of rejection, right? Lack of discipline, lack of accountability, lack of work ethic. These are some things. Right? So what is stopping someone from switching it on is they don't know how to solve what's holding them back, because they don't really know what it is. So Albert Einstein says you can't solve a problem, procrastination, fear, anxiety, stress, through the level of thinking that created the problem. So in other words, if I'm trying to find the way to solve my problem, and here's my problem, and I'm looking here through the eyes of my problem, trying to solve the solution is never in here. The solution is here. And that's why a coach who's not in your bubble, who can look at you and see from the outside looking in, can see solutions to your problem that you can't see. That's why Michael Jordan had a coach. That's why Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, they all are incredible players, but they have a coach because they recognize the coach can see things in them that they can't see themselves. So I think being self-aware is very difficult. Solving your own problem through the level of thinking that created your problem is very difficult. So you need someone to be able to help you uncover your blind spots. The best way to describe it is if you're driving your car and you're changing lanes. And have you ever had this happen where you're changing lanes and the person's in your passenger seat, get back in the lane, you almost hit that car. And you're like, oh my God, I didn't see the car. Well, yeah, that's the blind spots.
Yeah.
Is they are blind spots. It's so difficult to solve your blind spots because they're blind spots. You don't know. You know you procrastinate, but you don't know why. You know that you don't want to make the phone calls or you don't want to knock on the doors, but you don't know why. You know that you want to create more wealth and freedom for your family, but you don't know why it's so hard for you to get up every single day and do what you know you need to do. You, in fact, know what you need to do, but you don't do it, and you don't know why. How can you solve something where you don't know why you're being held back by it? That's why you need the coach.
Right. That's so well put. And I feel like all of us, we think we have the ability to solve other people's problems. We don't even know how to solve our own. We're like experts at other people's problems.
You know, it's interesting because I learned NLP and then I started to go and learn a little bit about the Course in Miracles, which is it's not religious. It's more, based on love and fear. It's not dogmatic in any way, shape, or form. But what I learned is something that was a breakthrough for me. It says sometimes you will attract a client and you will help that client so the universe can teach you both. So sometimes you are blocked. Sometimes you have a challenge and you'll work with a client that has a challenge, but by you working with them, you'll both come up with a solution together. So right. Yeah, you don't have to have it all figured out.
Yeah.
You just need to be 1 or 2 steps ahead, baby. Yeah.
You mentioned NLP and you're a trainer's trainer of it. For someone that doesn't know what NLP is, can you define it?
So the basic way I would define NLP is the study of human excellence. That's the easiest way. But when people hear neuro-linguistic programming, they hear these 3 words. I think the easiest way to say that is mindset, communication, action. Mm-hmm. Right? Neurology, our nervous system, our belief systems is our mindset. Linguistic, language, effective communication is our ability to effectively communicate with our clients. And most important person we're speaking to every single day is ourselves, right? And then the programming piece is what is our habits, what is our behaviors on a daily basis, what are our actions? Mm-hmm. So how important is mindset in real estate?
Oh, it's everything.
How important is effective communication? Speaking into the listening of your clients.
Yeah.
Which you're a master at, right? She's like, she's doing it. She's like, I try. She's modest too. And then how important is it that we take massive action?
It's everything. If we don't take action, we're in the same spot.
So NLP is basically saying when you have all 3 of those, the mindset, the communication, and the action are all on the same page, you have power, you have influence.
Right.
What it's also saying is if the mindset is not aligned, right? In other words, if you have fears, doubts, worries, insecurities, or if your communication is, you're not confident in your communication, or you have a little bit of negative self-talk, or your action, you know what you need to do, but you don't do it. So if those 3 are not aligned, you lack power and you lack influence, and your life will show up as a struggle. So I believe that neuroscience and neuro-linguistic programming is the secret. And I want to say, even though I'm not religious and I'm not a pastor, I truly believe being connected to something greater than you, whatever that is, you could call it God, source, love, universe, Jesus, Buddha, Allah, whatever it is for you, if you are at least tapping into those 3 things and connected to the greater love, which we all are, wow, there is nothing you can't do, because it's not even about you. At that point, it's about everyone. It's about your brothers and sisters. You want to contribute to other people. And so when you want to contribute to other people, I always say this, and I think I heard Tony Robbins say this once too. Life supports what supports life. Life supports what supports life. So if you're thinking about me, the universe is like, I care about you. I want to help you. Okay, think about you and I'll help you get what you want because I care about you. But the moment you're focused on you caring about other people, life supports what supports life. So in other words, you're focused on other people. The greatest amount of help you could ever possibly have will come to you because you're using it in the right way to improve the lives of many other people. So you become a multiplier.
And I think that the greatest reward that you can get is giving.
Giving. And, you know, I love this. I love this conversation because we hear these frames, right? And there is nothing more beautiful than a giver. No, everyone agrees on that. Mm-hmm. And there are people that have a hard time receiving.
Yeah.
So in other words, you could say the greatest thing is to be a giver, which is true. It's great. But there are people that are big givers that can't receive.
Why do you think that is?
Having coached for over 20 some years, I have discovered in doing a lot of breakthroughs that there are patterns. And not all the patterns are the same. Each person's individual. Their reason is a little unique for them based on their upbringing and so forth. But I'm going to share with you what I've seen come up quite a bit. Yeah. What I've seen come up quite a bit is I give because that's how I know that I am. When I give, I feel like I'm helping you or I'm doing something for you, but don't feel like I'm worthy of that myself. So and then there's another side of it, which is giving to receive.
Yeah.
But there are people that give, and they feel completely depleted. I mean, we see this everywhere. I give at my job, I give to my boss, I give to my family, I give to my husband, I give to my kids. I have a family member right now. I give to everybody and I'm just exhausted. I'm exhausted. I don't take care of myself. So what I've discovered is people have a very hard time taking care of themselves. Mm. And I did not take care of myself for many, many years. Thank God I went through the transformation and now I put my health first. And I realized the only way I can continue to give is I need to take care of me. The more I'm able to take care of me, the more I'm able to give.
I think that also goes to say with one of the main commandments is love others as you love yourself. And mm-hmm. maybe that's also related. People tend to think that, if I give, again, it's I will love others, but they forget to love themselves. So how can you love to the capacity that somebody needs if it's not being also reciprocated to yourself?
Mm-hmm. There's it reminds me of John Maxwell's book. One of my favorite books, if you want to read a book, it's the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Man, I love that book. And one of the laws, I believe the chapter that this one is in has to do with the adders, the subtractors, the multipliers, and the dividers. And when he says is you have adders, by the way, his premise is that people are naturally selfish. He thinks human beings are naturally selfish. I would tend to agree based on our human patterns.
Was he raised in LA?
Was he raised in LA? Yeah. When I studied A Course in Miracles, it kind of helped me understand the other side of the equation, that we're all love and we're all light. But because we become disconnected from our source, from our creator, because we've been hurt and wounded, because we no longer trust, we now keep ourselves separate from each other. And now the only way I can take care of me is I must take. So I think that's where it comes from. It's not our natural state. Although John Maxwell says that's who we are naturally, I just think that's how we've allowed ourselves to become. Mm. But what he talks about is you have the adders, subtractors, the multipliers, and the dividers. He says the adders, when you're in their presence, if you feel good energy, let's say I'm 100 out of 100 energy today, naturally, because I had a great weekend or whatever, I'm in the presence of an adder. Every time I'm with them, I'm now 108, 115, 120. Every time in their presence, I feel more energy added to me. The subtractors, every time in their presence, if I'm starting at 100, I feel depleted. 100 down to 92, down to 87, down to, he says, sometimes the adders and subtractors become more extreme. The subtractors is an example. A person that is a subtractor that then becomes a divider. Meaning you could be at 100 energy, and then when you're with them in their presence, you go from 100 down to 30. Because they've not subtracted from you, they've divided you. Right. Then you're now 30, you're in the second presence with them, you've now gone all the way down to 10. And then the third time, you're now down to 1. So literally, you've gone from 100 energy. You've only been with this person 3 times, and they've sucked the entire energy out of life out of you. Someone called those vampires once in a seminar. I thought, okay, that's pretty cruel. Not only called them vampires, he actually said to the person, you're a vampire and you're sucking the life out of me. I was like, yeah. Now, I've been through some really, really heavy duty trainings and they don't hold back. But the point is you have adders and subtractors. And the adder, sometimes you meet someone and they don't just add to you, they multiply you. And so the question is, what are you to people? Are you an adder? Are you a subtractor? Are you a multiplier or a divider? And then this is really difficult, and it's an important exercise. By the way, the person with the highest recorded IQ in history, until recent times, there's a new person, a young kid, but the person who had for many, many years, up until recently, the highest recorded IQ in history is a woman. And her name is Marilyn Savant. That's why we get the name Savant, right? Genius. Marilyn Savant was asked once, can you meet someone and predict their future? She says, absolutely. She says, all I have to do is ask you 2 questions. Like, what? You can predict someone's future by asking them 2 questions? She said, absolutely. Well, what are those 2 questions? She said, the first question is, who do you surround yourself with? Right? We've heard this one, right? Who are the 5 people you surround yourself with? If you take the 5 people you surround yourself with, and even if you were to think of it and as far as achievement and money, and you were to average their income, the 5 people you spend most of your time with, your income will probably be within 10% plus or minus the average of those 5 people. And the second question she asked is, what do you feed your mind? What books, what tapes, what CDs you feed your mind? So let's go back to the adders, subtractors, dividers, and multipliers. If your circle of influence, I highly urge you, I know this may sound shocking, so shocking. The biggest thing that you could do, according to the person that has the highest recorded IQ in history, is be careful who you hang out with. Who you hang out with on a daily basis, who you will become. Yeah. So are you, list the 5 or 10 names and ask yourself, put a check. Are they adders? Do they add to me? Do they subtract from me? Do they multiply me? Or are they literally dividing me? And maybe oftentimes that person's a family member. And that's fine. It might be your mom that doesn't believe. I've had agents that I've coached, they're 22, 25, 30 years old. And their parents like, what are you doing? You should hold on to your job. You should be happy with your job. You should spend the next 40 years and get a gold watch from that job. Right? And they don't believe. They project their own, their own lack of belief and their own employee mindset, because that's all they grew up knowing on you as an entrepreneur. So sometimes the adder subtractor is someone you love dearly and they're your family member. And it's okay. You can love them, but you probably need to find a way to not put them in your inner circle of inspiration and advisory for your business, right? So in other words, I love you, Mom. I love you, Dad. I love you, brother. But for as long as you want to continue to have a conversation about what I'm not going to be able to achieve in this business, I will no longer discuss it with you, because I'm on a mission and I will only have I'm only going to allow in my mind what's going to support me in achieving my goal. For you to continue to have a relationship with me, I ask that you do not bring this up, because I don't want to hear it. So we have to put up solid boundaries. Yeah. And until we put up solid boundaries, we're not going to get anywhere.
That's so true.
Yeah.
And it can, like you said, it can be the closest people around you. and still they may love you, but they're not the best advisors.
Yeah, you can't get advice from someone that doesn't have the results.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, well, this person thinks it's not a good idea. Well, yeah, they don't have a freaking clue what's a good idea. They haven't done anything.
Right.
Why are you taking opinions and advice from people that have not proven the concept, right?
Yeah.
What we should be doing. I heard Eric Mitchell's our dear friend, mortgage broker, Gold Star. He's executive vice president of Gold Star Mortgage. He says, I don't listen anybody's advice unless they are in a 000 club, whatever that means. If you're not making $1 million a year, and he has people that give him advice. He says, look, if you can show me a paycheck, if you can show me that you've made $1 million this year, I will hear advice from you. If you can't show me that you yourself have made $1 million, I don't want any advice from you.
Right.
And I think it's great advice.
Yeah.
Now, it's different if you're talking to a health coach, right? If you're talking to someone else, I go to the gym and I'm just like, I don't get it. You see the people they're not in shape and they're trainers. I'm like, I don't get that. I don't get that. You know, one of the things we teach in NLP is congruency. You got to walk your talk. Mm-hmm. You got to walk your talk. So, you know, you got to do what you're expecting other people to do. And if you're not, I don't think you're the teacher for them.
Right.
You got to be living your own message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What is the best part of your job, or the best part of the work that you do? Transformation.
It's hard to even put it in words. When someone has a breakthrough, like we did a training last night, and when someone has that epiphany, that light bulb goes off, they have a breakthrough, they start tearing up, they start heating up, they have their whole world changes in a moment. Yeah. You know, Oprah said once, she said, a lot of people didn't understand what I was doing on my show for now 25 years. Because Oprah had went through a lot of stuff, right? She was African-American, grew up in abject poverty. She was in foster homes. She was, unfortunately, had raped in a foster home. The baby that was born was then died, stillborn, shortly after. She went through a lot. And she had to heal all that, right? So she's doing her show for many years. And she said what people didn't realize is every time people would come on the show and they would have breakthroughs, she said, I was healing. I was healing through them. Mm-hmm. So I think on some level, I think it's my oxygen, because I feel like helping people break through it helps me. I feel very powerful, so don't get me wrong, but I feel like I'm rewriting my entire history. I feel like I've always been for the underdog. From the moment I was a little kid, it's ironic. I've hardly ever shared this. Probably I was in England. So I lived in Algeria for 6 years, lived in Spain for 3 years. I was in England for about 9 years. Went to Belmont, Holmbury, St. Murray prep school in England, and then went to Cranley in Surrey, did the whole cricket and rugby and did all that. I still play rugby to this day. And there was this kid called Shani Patel, which, by the way, I probably will end up meeting him. I don't know where he is. He'll probably see one of these things, and I'll probably do a show with him. I had this kid. He was itty bitty. He was he was getting picked on and bullied. He was Indian in England, and he was always late. He was clumsy, and I just became friends with him. And they literally wrote a letter to my parents. I probably was 8 years old. And they said, your son is amazing. He's so kind-hearted. He's literally helping this other kid get through this school. Otherwise, this kid wouldn't make it. But can you ask him to stop? Because he's his own grades. He's suffering in his own grades because he's helping this other kid. It's like holding him back. And that's always been me. It's just the underdog. And with that, I think I think now we get to this conversation of the soul. There's something that I don't know that if I probably asked in my next meditation, but I think we have a destiny. And I think for my destiny is to help people transform. And when I help people transform, I'm transforming, and world's becoming a better place. I truly believe in something better than what we have today.
I love that. How can someone find you and get into your coaching, get in contact with you?
So the best way to reach me would be, we have multiple programs, but the one that we have for people that are entrepreneurs, for leaders, for influencers, for salespeople, is you can go to Top Producers Global, Top T-O-P, Producers, plural with an S, global.com. And we also have some free gifts. Can I give some free gifts?
Absolutely.
So the 7 best kept secrets to dominating in any economy, learning from the top 1%, no matter what industry you're in, whether it's real estate, mortgage, financial services, network marketing. You can also attend one of our events for free. And then, even have some coaching for free. So all of that, the free gifts valued over $1,000, I'd like to give it to your audience for free. If you grab your phone and you text the word TOP, T-O-P, to the phone number 26786, text the word TOP, T-O-P, to the phone number 26786, T-O-P, to the phone number 26786. Within 10 to 20 seconds, you'll get a text back with a bunch of free gifts. And then you'll probably be invited to a free event, live event, and I'll get to meet you. We'll be together. Yes. And we'll make a difference in your lives. I truly believe we only have one life to live. Different religions, different faiths believe that we come here a few times, and I'm not disputing whether that's true or not. I'm saying we're here now. Why not make this one the best version? So if you want to have your best version of your life now, the best year ever now, when is now the time?
I love it. Kaya, thank you so much. This was an awesome chat, and I can't wait to sit down with you again.
I look forward to it, Olivia. You're a very good interviewer. She's going to be the next podcasting queen. I could tell. The accent kind of helps. You have to admit, the accent kind of helps. So congratulations
awesome.
on everything you're doing.
Thank you so much.
I will always be here to support you and your group, and I look forward to having you on our show. So we actually have a TV show called Top Leaders Forum TV show, which is powered by the Los Angeles Tribune newspaper. We've had celebrities, Nick Cannon on there, Ron Artest of Meta World Peace. We've had Mayor of LA, Karen Bass, one of the oldest, most well-respected Congresswoman, Maxine Walters, on there, and a bunch of other people. And we have a leadership week. So we actually have a show happening right now. I just did a 2-hour interview with Les Brown, my dear friend, and some other people. And I'd love to have you on our show too.
I would love that. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.